What up, though, Lions fans? It's your man Curt Steele from the Boss Up Ball Out podcast for Lions Nation Unite. Today, I'm gonna holler at you about one of the biggest stories of the Lions draft, Isaac TeSlaa. So go get your Lions gear or your LNU gear. Y'all see what it is. Smash that like button and let's get into it. Hometown kid, Isaac TeSlaa. Well, he's from Western Michigan, but whatever. A standout wide receiver at Arkansas, man, was making waves with his impressive performance on the field, especially at the Senior Bowl. A man standing 6'4", well, just about, and weighing just about 215 pounds, TeSlaa possesses a unique combination of size, speed, and agility. Dude had almost a perfect RAS score. So what can you say? Dude's athletic, man. Doing his collegiate career, he emerged as a all-around receiver, racking up some good stats and showing his knack for big plays and making some big blocks at Arkansas, where he finished with 896 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and an offense that's focused heavily on running the ball. So he's not going to be one of those guys that shies away from blocking, because you know how we get down in Detroit: no block, no rock. What makes Isaac TeSlaa an enticing prospect for the Lions? Well, let's look at his skill set, man. Dude's a physical receiver, especially because he played slot in college. The dude, he's a precise route runner with incredible hand. The guy catches the ball with his hands all the time. I've never seen, looking at his highlight film, his cut-ups, he's always catching the ball with his hands. And he has a outstanding catch radius, which allows him to make some contested catches, which is a vital skill in the NFL. And the dude has the ability to win some one-on-one matchup, which makes him a perfect fit for the Detroit Lions, especially when you're looking to bolster that offensive arsenal. You look at him, he's going to be the one of the guys that takes a guy's place like Tim Patrick. Maybe not this year, but maybe toward the end or next year. We got a good guy on our roster with Isaac TeSlaa. The Lions made some significant strides in their offense under their coaching staff, and with the balanced attack, man, and with the new offensive coordinator coming on board, he possesses the skills to make this an explosive offense, man. Got the speed, got size, man. And one thing I will say this: people say, well, he had great numbers at Arkansas. Well, they focus on running the ball, but tape don't lie. And shout out to my man over there at Spirit of Detroit podcast, Avery Giovanni, man. He got a great cut up of his tape. And let's look at how open this guy gets. Precise route runner, and he just knows how to get open and find the ball, man. And you throw it to him, but he's going to catch it. Now, with players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's going to mix right into the Lions offense, man. You know we're going to focus on their running game. And TeSlaa, like I said, man, that dude is going to provide an additional vertical threat running a 4-3. Now, this diversification, that's a big word, can keep defensive guessing and open up the field for more opportunities like players like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and my man, Sam I Am, the Porter. Now, TeSlaa's addition to the roster is anticipated to have an immediate impact on the team, man. His physicality can help in the red zone. The dude can just go up and snatch the ball, got a great vertical leap. The Lions have struggled with some of that down in the red zone in previous seasons. So I see him being his addition being definitely a win-win for the Lions, man, because his size, dude, 6'4". A lot of those smaller cornerback, man, are going to struggle with him in the red zone. And with his ability to play in the slot, that opens up more things for Amon-Ra St. Brown, because you can put Amon-Ra in the slot on one side in the red zone and TeSlaa in the other. So I'm loving it, man. One thing I do love about what's going on with TeSlaa and his story is that on his top 30 visit to Detroit, my man wore his childhood Lions jersey with his name and number 10 on it. And General Manager Brad Holmes like, man, you can't do that, man. That's kind of cheesy, whatever. But I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, that kid grew up a Lions fan, a diehard Lions fan. Now, we know that Aiden Hutchinson, he's from that, metro area, but he kind of grew up more of a Patriots fan because of the fact that he loved Tom Brady, and looking at that. But TeSlaa is a Lions fan, and I believe that Anthony Pittman is one as well. He grew up, he went to Wayne State. But you look at this guy, he's going to give 110% because he's playing for his childhood team, a team that he probably dreamed of playing in for a field for state championships and things of that nature. He wanted to be a Lion, and I'm glad that he got a chance to do that. You look at in the video of his draft and how his family celebrated when he said Mrs. Ford, what we all know we know Sheila Hamp. So we know how it gets down, man. But I'm loving what I'm seeing from the young man. I'm loving his dedication to the team, and he not only gets a chance to be a fan, but a player for his favorite team. How many players get a chance to do that? Not many. Now, the reaction from fan and analysts alike has been mixed, and many bullish on the potential that he brings and his athleticism. They're looking at his college numbers and saying, oh, man, I don't know what's going on. But I'm thinking that, like I said, the tape don't lie. My man Avery Gianni pointed out how this guy was a good receiver in a bad offense. And he has the experience of playing quarterback in high school, so he knows about route concepts and everything like that. So expectations are high, and Lions fans are eager to see if he can transition to the NFL game. I think he will be able to. Like Brad Holmes said, he wasn't the best receiver in the draft, but he was his favorite receiver in the draft. And he fits what the Lions want to do on offense, and he fits the team. Now, I will say this. Everyone's going to say something about the draft capital the Lions gave up to go and get this dude. The topic of debate, whether team gives up too much on a prospect. Everyone says that Brad Holmes reaches for players. But for the most part, he hits. The dude hits in the draft. And I think he hit again on Isaac TeSlaa. Because on one hand, he brings a skill set that the Lions can use, and he performs well. He would contribute immediately. Now, some going to argue about, man, the draft capital was just overspent. And I don't know about this. Nah, man, that dude is fast. He's big. He's strong. And he adds an element of youth that we needed to interject into the wide receiver room. Now, on the other hand, every draft pick holds some value. Some fans and analysts going to feel like the Lions could have had drafted him later on. But you look at that back part of the Lions really didn't have a lot of ammunition in that third to fourth round into the fifth round. They just didn't have it. So at that time, so they needed a trade to get it. And I think that he will definitely have an impact on the Lions, man. Everyone's going to have an opinion. Oh, he reached. But Brad Holmes, if you know anything about him, he's going to spend the capital to get what he needs or who he wants. So it is what it is. Now, on recently on 97 Won the Ticket, man, Brad Holmes did an interview about TeSlaa. He said he didn't think he was the best, but he was his favorite. Now, he said, man, probably the pick that got my most questions is Isaac TeSlaa. I can say he was my favorite wide receiver in the draft. I'm not saying he's the best overall. He's just my favorite. And you look at this guy, toughness, grit factor. He is a guy who just fits the mold for the Detroit Lions. Now, he didn't go into detail of what he really likes about him during the segment, but he explained his decision to trade him up in the draft. Holmes mentioned that his draft class didn't have a lot of talent with so many teams looking for wide receivers between 102 and where they got him at 70. So he felt that he needed to act on that and move up and grab Isaac TeSlaa. Now, when you love the player, like he says, man, he said, yeah, you love the player. When you look at where we were at 102 and you take the specific player out of the equation, he graded at a certain level. Maybe only a couple of guys at that level were left on the board. He's saying you're sitting there at 102, man, because Brad he's telling the truth, man, about why he did what he did. He said you see that there was a probability around 8 teams are still hunting for a wide receiver, and you can have to consider all of that, and it really comes down to having the confidence in the player. In the end, y'all know what the Lions did. They traded that pick 102 and a 2026 third round picks, 4 pick 70, and 2 6-round picks, and one for 2025, one for this year, came back to the Lions in that trade. It's just hard to figure out why people are just kind of clamoring to see why he did what he did, but I understand it, man. I looked at the draft chart, right, with the compensation of the value of the pick, what the value of the picks that the Jacksonville gave up, and what the value of the picks that the Lions gave up. It was pretty even. Like, it was like the Lions value picks were at 65, excuse me, and what the Jaguars gave up were around 72. So you look at that, man. That's 7 points. That's not a lot of wiggle room, especially when you talk about in the NFL draft. So you look at it, man. Brad Holmes is going to get his guys no matter what. So you can just chalk it up. You're going to do what he. And one thing I will say this: Brad Holmes is never going to draft a player that he and Dan Campbell don't agree upon. So, like, he's not a Bob Quinn type of GM where he's just going to go ahead and go out on a limb and just take a player that he was, up on. So, yeah, it wasn't going to happen, man. So, another thing about my man, TeSlaa, man, he's a grinder, man. Dude went to play the Division II Hillsdale College, man. Shout out to them. Shout out to my man, Coach Jones over there, man. We'll get back with you on that one, but he may have a connection to Hillsdale College here soon. But on draft night, man, Holmes just said, man, he believes that there are solid reasons for the drop in production, because he didn't have a lot of production at Arkansas. But watching the tape, man, that's what the Lions were sold on. His tape sold his potential. He said when you see a guy who's big and long and a smooth runner, man, and can celebrate and have good speed, that just is what it is. The tape don't lie. Like my man AG tell you, man, the tape don't lie, baby. And TeSlaa is going to be an important part of the Detroit Lions offense for the upcoming season. With that being said, man, TeSlaa mainly played a slot during college, man. Holmes admitted he'll need to learn some things. He'll move up when he moves up to the next level. I'm sure that players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams and Tim Patrick, they're going to take this young player under their wing and make sure he knows how to play on the outside and develop tools to succeed. He's a precise route runner, man, and I think that he'll be able to adjust the coverages, breaking down. He'll be able to use his physical skills and the right mindset to make it work, man. I think TeSlaa is definitely a good pickup for the Detroit Lions. I like the pick. And over on the Boss Up Ball Out podcast, I actually mocked TeSlaa to the Lions in our first ever Boss Up Ball Out podcast mock draft. So I like the kid, man. And I think we mocked him at 102. So, man, there you go. So, like, ultimately, for really the impact of the draft choice will be measured over time. You can't really grade a draft or grade a player in the first when the guy hasn't taken a snap in the actual NFL. It just doesn't make any sense, man. But if TeSlaa can develop in what the Lions see as a reliable player and help them achieve their goals of winning the Super Bowl, it will be a smart move. He struggles, man. People are going to debate all day about the draft capital. Man, the Lions' weapons, and what Johnny Morton wants to do. He wants to have more explosive plays. And he got a player in TeSlaa that's an explosive guy down the field. So I think it's going to be a good mix, man. So what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on my man, Isaac TeSlaa? Did they give up too much, or do you believe in his potential? Let me know in the comments of this video, man. I'm thinking he is going to be a pivotal piece moving forward in the Detroit Lions offense, man, because his skill set and his work ethic, man, and his actual athletic prowess, man, is going to help him really keep the Lions at the top of the NFC North. So again, man, let me know. Are you excited to see Isaac TeSlaa in action, man? Because we're going to get another chance to see him real soon because of the fact that the Lions are going to play in 4 preseason games, man. That extra game, the Hall of Fame game, is going to get Isaac TeSlaa all the shine he needs to prove why the Lions draft him, man. Hey, make sure you check out the link in the description of this video for some fantastic, and I'm telling you, man, tight Lions Nation Unite gear. Yeah, I see I'm wearing that JG, man, Jared Goff, man. You can support the apparel from or worn by some of your favorite Detroit Lions content creators and Detroit Lions legend Herman Moore. They have a wide variety of options, including honoring the military appreciation with their salute to service gear. So wearing this gear not only shows your support for the channel and the network, but it puts you in a space where you are with a larger community that is Lions Nation Unite. So help us grow this incredible movement that is LNU. Thank you for tuning in today, man. Be sure to check out the Boss Up Ball Out podcast for more insights and discussion with my man LL Cool Torrance and Coach Mike Jones and myself about our favorite team, the Detroit Lions. This is Curt Steele, and I will holla at you real soon.